Choo-Choo and Cat both level 6, but remember, Cat has no sums from the earlier fight at blue buff. They still decide not to pull the trigger, though.
And that was a teleport ward actually placed by Swift there, potentially threatening for the dive. And it lasts long enough that they can continue to push these waves and pressure it under the turret, but LWX doesn't have enough mana. They haven't shopped, but neither has the bottom lane of Dan, and that's why this is still a very much achievable decision if they wanted to dive it. Choo-Choo doesn't do a lot of damage, has the Doran's ring, so he's all about spell sustain. As Cat's stopping those recalls, teleports in.
Found LWX, drops a ward. That's the teleport coming in from Lies along with Sky. They both get in. He's a long way from Meganar, but he's still doing enough damage. First blood Newbie as a quick headbutt knocks him back, but he bounces in. Equalizer on top of Gnar. He's about to tick over to Mega, and the Weaver's Wall. Sky follows through as Crisp gets a second kill for Newbie.
And the immediate teleport from Sky. He had his finger on the trigger. He was in base, ready to go. And that was aggressive from Dan, stopping recalls, knowing that they didn't want to get them to base. They want to prolong the laning phase, but it felt like that was far too committal to stop them from recalling. Cat doesn't even overexert himself by using the headbutt and the pulverize, just the headbutt, and it was still too much.
Very tricky situation to deal with. Here's a replay of that once again. Headbutt. Holds on to it, there's the pulverize.
And it's a good combo from Cat, but at the same time, he has no summoner spells. They're very reliant on Choo-Choo having all of them, but with an Ignite available for Crisp, there's no point using the heal there. He was ultimately just going to die either way, so it's just a well-timed Ignite. Talia, look how quickly Coco rotates and how far ahead he is of Jace. You've also got Swift stalking the Jace, so if he decided to come in going, he would have been followed by another member, and that would have been more casualties for Dan. And that's falling on your own sword if ever I've seen it.
It certainly is. Though they might be trying to make something happen again as Karen with the control ward sneaks very close to this bottom lane.
He's got his item spike too here, Karen. Actually completes the Cinder Hulk immediately. He's ahead of Swift in terms of item spikes right now.
Ooh, knock up on the Choo-Choo. The bait might have been too juicy. Karen follows through from the side. Crisp. Oh, takes the body block. Meanwhile, the scoop onto Lies pulls him away as Swift ganks top for a kill and does what Karen cannot.
Yeah, they see Karen bottom, they make the play top side, and the Gnar was very cleverly used by Sky, just scooping him towards Swift, not even into the wall for the further stun. Spear, easy connect, but Dan, they didn't just commit to the bottom lane, they hard committed with everybody, and Newbie said, okay, we'll match you. In fact, we'll beat you.
With the turret race, it is top tier 1 for Newbie that goes down first. They're able to get that first brick, though it's traded shortly thereafter by Dan. And still with the numbers advantage, they turn on to the Mountain Dragon.
And you look at the Herald now for Swift in particular and say maybe this is an achievable option. You've got Gnar and Italy still there. You know that Dan, look, they're still missing. They have only one place that they could be right now at the Mountain Drake, even though Vision isn't there. Dan have very good wards around that pit. It will still be most likely a trade unless Dan just walks straight over and stop them, which they don't.
Yeah, they just take it and, ooh, they're actually swarming bottom right
boy.
now. Crisp will spot this out. He knows that they're there. With Flash, ooh, that's going to be the slam down. LWX tries to get away from one. The knock up into the back, and the quickness to safety. LWX is safe.
Because Crisp wants it to be so. Cancels the ultimate from Jin, and that is the saving grace there, because he's the damage source. Karen has no ultimate. Cat has no spells up. They were all reliant on that first tick of the ultimate slowing down LWX. And you look at that and you say, why did he not flash earlier? Well, they used a lot to keep him alive, but he's alive.
Absolutely. And ever that was a grand entrance if I've seen one. Finding a way into the backline, saving his AD carry's life as a support properly should. Most of the time. Unless it's a Vayne, then they deserve to learn their lessons.
And just a little bit of extra credit where it's due to Crisp as well. He didn't really know they were in that bush. He checks it with a Q. Process of elimination, they have to be in the area. And he actually hits them. And LWX is like, well, we're getting the heck out of here. Good flash timing in the end. Cancel before the damage can come through. Flashes onto the next, dashes through to LWX. It's clean.
Yeah.
One would say it's Crisp.
You've been sitting on that one, haven't you?
No, I haven't actually.
Oh, that was just tip of the tongue? Nice. It was good. It was good. I like it.
He sets it up. I knocked it down.
There you go. Tragically, though, Dan Gaming, they set it up, but they could not knock it down. And we find ourselves at a 14-minute mark with a 2,500 gold lead for Newbie. They are running all over the map, pushing lanes, pushing objectives. And now they might be pushing top. Sky gets Meganar as Chris. Ooh, didn't queue into that brush. But just hops over the wall, leaves LWX.
Not again. It just keeps happening. Newbie's bottom lane.
Yeah.
Ricard is slippery, very hard to kill. Going to stop the recalls as well. But during all of this time, what is LWX doing bottom? Your team's pushing top. Coco was in the jungle with Swift and Sky, and they're making plays, and there is no reason for you to be dying in the process.
Yeah, the top tier 2 is broken with Rift Herald as Lies has to back away from Sky and Swift, and the potential follow-up of Coco. But still, we'll have to see if Dan can get anything off the back of this. Yeah, they got a kill, but they lost to Turret. Not exactly a favorable trade.
No, not at all. The kills will be nice. They'll feel good about themselves having won.
Yeah.
And it goes towards Goong, who actually has his Duskblade completed.
He does. That's
Tear into Duskblade.
the classic.
That's some Jace priorities if ever I've seen it. Thank you, 714.
Yeah, 714. And LWX, he says, Jace bottom? Oh, get me down there. Races right back down. Crisp starts fighting for wards. He sees Sejuani. He sees the Alistair and the Jace. And just places a nice defensive line to allow LWX to farm. But now Coco has to absorb this pressure.
Coco has both summoners up, including a cleanse, so it's very difficult to actually kill him unless Alistar is the one engaging with the knockups, because then you can't cleanse that one as successfully. But you've got Crisp nearby. He's trying to get vision in the bottom side jungle. He's prioritizing the area of the map where all of Dan have been, where all of their vision have been, has been.
I assume still are. They've still got wards on that side of the map. And once again, it looks like Goong, he was just headed down there again, but still no timer on that Mountain Dragon, so there's really not too much to take down there unless they rotate mid and look for a tier 1.
And Coco's bottom, so Swift gets himself a blue buff. Thank you, timing, says the Nidalee. And this is actually the initiation of a lane swap here from Newbie, bringing their AD carry and support towards the mid lane. I would say it's about time, in all honesty, for this play. Of course, Coco has been roaming nicely from mid lane as a really good pivot point for himself. But LWX has not been in a position to safely farm. He has been farming fine, but it's never felt safe.
Risky farm.
And now it's harder for Dan to take him apart, and it's easier for Coco to cause mismatches.
Ooh, Weaver's Wall almost catches out Dan Gaming, but he drops it right away.
And the reason it's possible is because he brings the Jace to the bottom lane, and that's the biggest win about swapping your AD carry and support to mid right now, is the power spiked Jace just has to take that bit of extra time to clear a minion wave on the opposite side of the map before he can come in and be that powerhouse champion.
Oh, he certainly is trying. His Scuttle Crab is now picked up 90 seconds before that Mountain Dragon has spawned. So once again, we see this gank squad from Dan move in, sweep out the backside of the wards on the back half of this Dragon Pit, and make sure that this area is unsafe forever for LWX.
Certainly, because Swift is just worked out that this part of the map doesn't belong to him either. Crisp has known that for a couple of minutes, so it's good to see that Nubia are finally aligned.
Communicating, yeah. They're on the same page.
By ramming their head into it.
Sometimes you have to learn the lesson yourself.
There is a Jace here, Swift
Absolutely.
says. Crisp responds, yes, there has been for 5 minutes.
Oh, that's what you meant by come bottom. However, again, the game has slowed down a little bit after that early little action that we saw. The top 2 turrets. Sky has set himself up really well. He's 1-0-2, completed his Black Cleaver. He's got this tier 2 broken down, so he's free to shove as far as he wants. And Dan, they haven't done anything to slow down this Gnar. They've been focusing and prioritizing bottom.
Yeah, I know that our Oceanic players that are big fans of the Krugs are playing right now, so he won't hear me say this, but Krug Fiends, man, top laners in 714 are the biggest Krug Fiends of all time. Jace took the bottom lane Krugs, Sky took the top lane Krugs. We're lane swapping just to get Krugs, basically. That's where the meta's descended to, so thank you, Swiper. He learnt that in Korean solo queue for the record, so thank you, Korea.
Well, of course, just trying to keep on top of what's fresh. Speaking of which, Dan Gaming, Mountain Dragon has spawned, and they have already got their sights set on it. Cat goes in, and Crisp gets right on out. LWX follows through. Dragon's down to about 3/4 health as Goong starts trying to clear out these wards, but that's a lot of auto attacks he needs to get through. And Coco, he's got the Weaver's Wall. He knows that Dan are split. Do they force the fight? Misses the flick. Seismic Shove is not going to do anything.
Sky's
There's
dead.
the Weaver's Wall. They go into Sky. He bounces back, but that's the tank. The shots are being fired across. Sky gets out of range, and somehow Karen's the one who dies.
Cat is so close to dying, as I was actually really concerned that Drake would have taken him apart. But Newbie, they pushed them off, and it was close. It was dangerously close for both members, and only Karen is the one that will go down ultimately, and Swift being there. So the camps are
Oh,
Cat.
he's on the prowl. That's Ignite as well. He gives his life
so
that Swift might live, and he goes to the side, once again loops around the knock-up, and he's still going. He's still firing across. Crisp will die so that Swift can live, and Sky with the fresh teleport, not even full HP, joins in. They tag onto Lies. He's overheated, and LWX gets the kills, baited and outsmarted.
Crisp is the hero of Swift's life there. The timing of the jump from Jace, it was actually comical as they swapped positions.
Yeah.
And he's able to survive all but barely. And that now means there's a 3-0 Nidalee. The Caitlyn gets the blue buff, gets a kill towards the end of it. And Newbie, they break open the map. Compliments of overstaying just a bit more from Dan. My jungle is dead. I have 200 HP.
I mean, if ever that was a Dan problem, I imagine that's it. We can Baron. No, they'll fight us, but we can Baron. Even if they kill us off the back of it.
Funnily enough, the timing of that fight was if they killed Swift, they recall, they get wards at the Baron.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like, it's actually that time in the game. They're there already. You can see them. And just imagine that Swift was dead in this instance and pretend that, you know, Dan knew that he was dead instead of doing Krugs. They'd have control of Baron almost entirely.
They certainly would, but as it stands, they have control over...
Well, they have a ward in the pit.
Looks like mid lane, maybe?
And they've got their own jungle completely covered. Okay. Again, this is obviously, when you're watching a Dan game, you watch the Baron at 20 minutes. You're like, all right, how have they set up for it this time? Have they done something crazy and unique? Well, the answer is always they do Baron at 20 minutes. So how do they get to the Baron at 20? And it's always a pick before the Baron.
Like this, perhaps, as Coco steps forward. The spear misses. Glacial Storm is insta-cleansed from Coco. And they turn onto Cat. Newbie using Dan's propensity against them. Flank from behind as Chuchu looks to join the fight. Coco's low. As Crisp goes in, he dies, and Coco eats a shock blast as well. Fourth bullet will get the shot onto him. And LWX is still going. He gets into the brush, but he dies to Chuchu. Sky looking to follow through on the back. He steps on, trying to chase through. There is no escape from this Gnar, but he does get one final slow.
Oh, he got him.
And the boomerang tags him. It's time for Mega Gnar, but he gets slammed away. No ultimate. Goong is going for the kill. Oh, and he gets it. Ace.
Dad get it aced, but it's what, 4 for 5, and there's still a 5,000 gold lead for Newbie. That was just a showing of individual flair, the strength of Jason. Most importantly here, no one's surprised that Dan are engaging. No one's surprised that Coco's able to survive because he has a cleanse, and that's who they're engaging on. But LWX comes up clutch in this fight where it looks like Crisp, he charms them all. They're all stuck, but Nubia's still losing this. And honestly, without LWX being aggressive, being a hero, getting knocked in, but still going forwards to try and waste time, get them all too low to even commit to the Baron buff itself. It buys time for Sky to get in. And the problem here for Newbie was that he just wasn't there. If Sky was there in the first place, it could have been a wash towards Newbie, almost completely in their favor. And then Goong just goes off.
Yeah, we can see this trade here, but it looks like there's trading elsewhere on the map as Goong with the style kill. Meanwhile, coming back in, Coco has now died to Lies. And again, these teams, 20 minutes happened, and they are like, Baron, let's fight.
Yeah, Coco had no summoners, so he's the one who dies here. Very well timed again from Dan. Repeat offenders. They're smart players. A little bit insane. They're like Singed, but they are smart.
You know that there's an intellect somewhere. You're just not sure if it's being used for the greater good.
He made a potion for insanity. Like,
he did.
He's smart enough to make it, but is insane enough to have it.
And drink it.
Yeah. That's what I meant by have it.
Very, very capable play. Not quite a capable win, though, just yet. Still 4,000 gold, about 3.5 in favor of Newbie. But it's Dan Gaming with the kill onto Coco. They're pushing into mid lane. They're maintaining control over this wave. And with, ooh, look at the damage that this Duskblade is doing onto Sky. Not a lot of armor yet.
Yeah, Sky's gone towards the, not necessarily split push build, but it's to win your lane or control your lane.
Yeah, the chase down.
Yeah, it's to have that prolonged lane, and if the turret's dead, then Gnar is in his natural habitat. Mini Gnar still has a pretty rough time against Lies, especially with the Leandra's Torment there, almost towards the Zonia's himself. So realistically, the items are fine from Sky, but slowing down his defensive items means that he will get destroyed. And even going towards a Negatron, because of how his laning phase has started to crop up to be, means that even now, the team fighting could still be bad.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe just a few minutes ago we were commending him for his laning performance. Nearly 50 CS ahead, 2 turrets down with some assistance from Swift. how the times have changed. As Dan Gaming, they are fighting and recklessly headbutting into Newbie, and they're still coming away a little bit better as they're keeping even.
You're fighting them in their domain. There is a chance that it goes right for them, and a higher chance than normal, especially with having a 5k lead and being able to lose a team fight and then get picked off again. Consecutive positives coming out of the Dan Gaming roster off the back of Newbie having these leads as Karen is stalking his prey.
Oh, yeah.
This is all a bait from Alistar.
Is he the hunter or the hunted? Just taking spear after spear, Karen. Oh!
I was here all along.
Doesn't find him. Swift with the reaction. 1-2 flash.
Doesn't get anything. So
Yeah.
I mean, Swift flashed. Ultimately, I'm not even sure that was necessary. But he'll be alive. And again, the Drake seems to be the point of priority here. If there was one Drake down at one, it'd be a Mountain Drake, because that helps you get Baron shortly after. And it's more so, I would say, the team fight after. Actually, Chris!
Ooh, Chris with the engage forces the fight. Sky is so far. The seismic shove flings them in. Goom! Goes low and goes down. Choo-Choo firing in the back has to leave as Sky chases onto him. Cat with no follow-up dies. And Newbie, they pick off and segment Dan into chewable little bits, and they are consumed entirely.
And Choo-Choo, no chance to do damage in that fight because Sky just stands in front of him and says, try your best, buddy. It's actually not possible. Newbie, even with Swift dying that early, are able to get out through that fight. And Coco gets a sick shove. Crisp gets a sick engage for them. And it's just all that easy for LWX to turn around and do some free damage, compliments of all the CC around him.
Here's that play again as the knock-up flash engage.
Yeah, hits them all, of course. The headbutt from Cat getting him in there with the charm. Shove's good. LWX pretty much free-hitting Lies is trying to get rid of him. But Caitlyn's range is very significant. Choo-Choo, meanwhile, isn't even able to hit anybody. He just has to explosive plane out to safety. As we're back.
We certainly are. 12 kills to 9. Now a 4,000 gold lead. Still for Newbie, but they do have that double Mountain Dragon, which could incentivize them to turn their attentions towards Dragon, especially knowing that the next and final Elemental Dragon will be Cloud. Doesn't quite keep up to the luster of Mountain Dragons, this late into the game especially.
Not at all.
But we do see buffs getting passed over, taking stock of the items. We've got 3 items completed on LWX. We've got 3 items completed on Choo-Choo. Mid laners are just about even at 3 items apiece as well. These fights are going to be big.
Yeah, Jin's gone for the lethality build. As you'd expect, of course, his third item's actually a rapid-fire cannon, which, generally speaking, when you look at Jins with lethality, you look at Jace with lethality, and you say all of their goals as champions and items are to kill carries. Otherwise, there's no purpose in you having lethality or playing the champion at all. Now, LWX having a rapid-fire cannon of his own, having 2 Zhonya's hourglasses there for Swift and Coco, it becomes a bit of a challenge to kill those carries.
Oh, the damage! I mean, that's what happens when you get the 4th bounce, right? The 4th bullet. Crisp takes all of these shots and even shields himself up to make sure that he's safe with that Locket of the Iron Solari. But you were mentioning, yes, they've got all the lethality. Yep. They want to kill carries. There are 3 of them to choose from.
There is. Of course, they just showed how much damage they can do to one of the carries if they get onto them, and that was without the full burst of Choo-Choo and Goong, as here we go, Dan.
Yeah, this
around the merry-go-round.
I'm fairly certain this is actually the latest Baron that they've ever attempted. Latest first Baron. I could entirely be wrong because it just seems like that's Dan Gaming.
The plays for mid lane turret. Talia's locked him off. Very clever stuff coming out of Coco.
Sky harassing from behind as the rest of Newbie break down the tier 2, even pushing the minion wave a little bit further.
And Dan don't commit. They don't come in after the Talia wall ends. They just get completely shoved out. Trapline's able to deter them. This is really nice from Newbie, albeit for a small lead, small game. It's the little things like that that'll still get them that game in the end, because the next turret is the inhibitor turret. And if Dan go towards a Baron again, then they might get blocked off from that one, and suddenly you're losing the game.
Absolutely, and you can already see, looking at those turrets, it's 5-1 right now. Newbie have been getting these small advantages over the entire course of the game, and it's opened up a pretty hefty amount of the map for them. And now Dan Gaming, they're forced to move around as a unit because they don't have the safety of those tier 2s. We do see Sky split pushing bottom. He's got his teleport ready. Finished off his Gargoyle Stone Plate, so that should keep him just a little bit more safe in these big fights. While the rest of the team is getting prepped for another Big push for Vision around that Baron.
And you know, one thing we haven't actually mentioned, Dom, now that you look at it, like we've mentioned the summoner spells for these guys, Cleanse for Coco, but you've got Ignite for your Jace mid lane, and these aren't surprises that they've gone towards Ignite, but so have both of the supports. And to have a bit of extra kill threat in lane, of course, having the Ignite there is good to have for the lane control. There's no exhausts, and there are so many people that you might want to exhaust in team fights. If a Jace is in melee range, if a Jin's got the crit ready to go, Rumble has the equalizer down, then Newbie want these exhausts that don't exist. And so there's a very real chance that if Dan are engaging the fights or doing what you just saw on your screen, actually starting with the damage, they can kill someone instantly.
Absolutely. You can saw how quickly Crisp responded, dashing in like, I can shield you, but it's not going to do much against double Duskblade of Goong and Choo-Choo. And now with all of the potential harass, LWX continues to farm it up. He's about 30 CS ahead, about 25 ahead of Choo-Choo right now, and collectively Newbie are moving in, contesting this Vision. Sky is sitting nice and far back outside of Vision with the teleport ready to join in should anything happen. Dan Gaming are just going to sit back and prep their waves instead, mid and top.
It's like the Dan Gaming ARAM, it just has to happen in the river instead. Really, all you get from the mid lane is a bit of wave control, a bit of poke, and AD carries are just sitting here clearing. You know, Static Shiv, Rapid Fire Cannon, Caitlyn will one-hit the wave, basically.
Yeah.
Jin's there first and a bit more protected. As Newbie, when you look at the vision placement, you look at the areas they're trying to control, the only thing that's down the bottom side is 2 control wards. Good dodge.
Karen leaps forward. He's immediately spotted out by Swift. That was 3 members of Dan ready to collapse onto Coco. But he did not panic. He kept his cool and kept himself safe. Scuttlecrab still picked up. They're maintaining this Vision here, but that means Sky is pushed all the way up to a tier 2.
Sky's level 16. We're starting to hit those big level spikes as well. Not a lot's going to be able to kill him with a Gargoyles completed, working towards his next items. Potentially, I'd say a Thorn Mail, just going towards the Warden's Mail component of it first, which I like.
So then, Rusty, with all of these massive explosive items, all these big power spikes coming across, how are we expecting these fights to go? Does it just start with a pick from Dan Gaming?
I mean, we mentioned the damage that Dan have got for themselves. If they find a pick immediately, then they just hard win the fight usually, but it can't be onto Swift. Swift is more of a protector. It needs to be onto LWX or Coco primarily. And then they've still got the threats of Sky in front of them. So these team fights are... It's really hard to navigate and say that someone has a better scaling or a better advantage as the game progresses, because they both do in different ways. I would still say that LWX has a bit more protection, will be a bit safer, and should have a very successful team fight when he gets to his multiple items, and especially now that he's got the Mercurials from what was a QSS. Very hard to kill, and then I look at Dan and say there's a lot that can kill him still. And that's really the name of the team fights when they happen.
Can you kill LWX? Can you kill Coco? I mean, with Crisp standing beside him for just about the entire game, it's even more challenging.
I mean, really, it's Karen is the tank of the team. Cat will be a tank, but only with the ultimate up and available. And so these doubled up team fights, the team fight number 1 that breaks into a second that you usually see with tanks, is not going to be the case with these guys. It will be explosive, and that's a good thing to have Alistar in. When they've got a bunch of carries on their team, your ultimate is very meaningful, opposed to in the tank meta, you pick Alistar and say, all right, I got 1 fight out of these 3 engages where I can use it.
One of them's good. Ooh. Starting to see the damage that this Jace is going to do in these fights as a Shock Blast tags Swift down to half health, and they finish off the turret. As Coco, he's prepped mid. He could be looking for Choo-Choo here.
Like hard prioritizing giving farm to Swift too. Yeah. LWX just walked from top lane to mid, and Coco had already cleared the wave, and so they give an abundance of farm to Swift. Might be to accelerate his item build specifically, but he's going towards the Lichbane from the looks of it. Bit of extra burst in his.
Got that sheen. I mean, there's only 3 items it can turn to, right? The Lichbane, the Iceborne Gauntlet, and the Triforce.
And you're this committed to AP. There's absolutely no way you'd go any of the others unless he's doing B. He's not far off.
Just doing something a little wacky.
Iceborne Gauntlet Victors, the usual.
Still holding on to it, though. Well, for Doinby. It was multiple times. He's done it more than once. Doinby, that is. But we are expecting Swift to be the more sane of the 2 here. Looking towards that Lichbane as he steps up, places his control ward, fighting over this Vision. Sky back in base, finishes off his Randuin's Omen. That is a very large Gnar.
And it really feels like both teams have slowed that game down now. And it's all about getting the pick, which is why you'd say a lot of it is slowed down. Step one of picks is vision, and then step two is to get the kill using the vision as an advantage. And everyone's stuck on step one right now, and it's about having the superior vision control, because both teams are just freely clearing mid waves.
Yeah.
And because there is no mid control, there's no real chance to be able to occupy a superior space on the map and secure better vision.
They're just continuing to move backwards and forwards. Finally, though, we've got all 10 players grouped up within about one screen of each other.
Sky's almost mega Gnar, so there's an opportunity here for Newbie to get an engage off. He is the only real engage of the team with Crisp. Crisp is severely underleveled to the carries on Dan Gaming, though, and will probably get one hit. Like level 16 for AD and mid laner with all the lethality they've got, might actually just one-tap him.
Stepping forward now, he's caught up to LWX, trying to get some more wards back in this mid lane. Dan Gaming, after the poke that they just took, will decide to back away, maintain their side lanes, prevent anything else from happening. We don't see any prioritization over the Cloud Dragon right now because, as we've said, it doesn't quite have the luster of that Mountain Dragon.
The reason you would look at the Drake now is to make it become an Elder. That's the biggest benefit of killing it right now. And I genuinely believe that Newbie should be doing that right now. Take apart the Cloud Drake. Just do it as a two-man. You don't have to sacrifice too much vision for that. But I do feel like that's where their priorities are, is that they don't want to lose vision control against Dan Gaming around a Baron buff.
Absolutely.
Because they'll do it. And so they're not risking going over to the Drake.
Already the assist pings, the on my way pings. Karen was just clearing out a ward, and Newbie rush forwards. They can actually see Lies on the other side of the map right now as Goong steps way too far forward, and Crisp, again with the hard engage, starts it out. LWX immediately turns onto the Baron, but he doesn't have any support of his team. Sky is finally there. We're still not seeing the
teleport out of Lies. They've got a tank now, so they could start the Baron up successfully and not lose too much health for it. Jace dead is a big hit as Sky has to tank these.
Choo Choo's got the fourth bullet ready, but a Weaver's Wall knocks him up. Karen, he's ready to charge in as well. Glacial Storm has found Sky. It's providing slow. Equalizer over the entrance to the pit as Lies has walked, holding on to his teleport.
They keep it aggroed.
They certainly have it. It's stolen. Karen gets the Baron.
Oh, Lord almighty, Newbie. Why would you do this to yourself? It felt like LWX and Swift were on completely different pages, and with a headshot crit, with a rapid-fire cannon buffing it up, LWX decides that he's going to hit the Baron again. And whether that was for lifesteal or to kill it, I'll let you decide, because Swift was not able to outsmite. It was a Jhin at the same time as well. That really was a battle of the 2v2 timings, and Dan come out ahead just.
Only barely. And with that, though, that is Baron to Dan Gaming. Somehow, they've done it again. Oh, man. Dan Gaming are like a Batman villain. How do they keep getting these Baron buffs? And it's not like the great masterful plan. It's like he's done it again. Really?
And they're definitely not as skilled as Batman in this case.
Absolutely,
Newbie have controlled it. It was their Baron.
They found the kill, yeah.
They were so ready to do it, and they just couldn't do it. They couldn't kill him.
Joke's on you, Batman. This time, no luck. No dice. Dan now find themselves with map control. Oh, goodness. Every time.
I just don't even know what to tell you at this stage.
Well, I mean, now that they do have the Baron, let's look at what they can do. Because 38 minutes in, we are seeing huge items. It was huge items 10 minutes ago. Someone gets caught out for barely 3 seconds, and they are going down.
Yeah, going completely out of position, and suddenly Dan have the initiative. And with that initiative, you would still say it's one of the hardest teams to siege into because it's a Caitlyn, and not just a Caitlyn. The trap line that gets set up then threatens the engage from Crisp. If Coco's invisible on the map, the threat of him being able to actually get an engage off with the shove, if you're trying to siege, is super scary for Dan. So they need to poke at it. They need to make sure that if they're trading, it is an equal trade, and that they're not getting engaged on without them being ready.
Coco is sitting on the side with his Weaver's Wall. He drops it across, manages to split off the tanks, but decides not to surf that wave in because that is into Jaws. That is going to be into a very painful fight. So they just take some harass, and Dan Gaming reset, catch the next wave, and push it right back down.
Oh, here they go.
But they've targeted onto LWX, and they actually caught Swift. He's in the back firing across, but a big sweep resets the front lines.
Oh!
The fourth bullet has tagged onto him. A quick flick pulls them in, and the snare followed through the stun. Too quick. As it's Dan Gaming finding a kill and chasing it forwards. They tag onto Sky, but he's still alive. The seismic shove and a headshot from LWX brings down Cat.
And just when you thought Dan are going to do it, they're strong enough to win a team fight, take some turrets, maybe even dive. They just go one bit too far, and then it ends up becoming a 2-for-1 in favor of Newbie, who still have the gold lead. And maybe with that death, yes, Dan might get themselves a turret.
Hold your breath there. Fourth bullet shot.
What is Sky doing?
Sky is trying to flank from behind. He teleported in but was spotted. And he actually is going to get some damage here. Chunked down so low.
He's close to Mega.
And he's got that frozen mallet. he's
down.
A little greedy for the kill.
Yeah, maybe it's pushing him off blue. I don't really know what to tell you there for Sky, but he teleports in. He doesn't die, so everything's okay. Newbie, they still hold that control in terms of gold. They don't hold the tempo. We get to see this engage again, and it's all about killing Swift right now. The Nidalee is a champion we've looked at and said maybe it's not the best pick here, and it's starting to bear fruit in that respect. Coco, he's caught out of position, but has the cleanse. It's not a great cleanse, but I believe it reduces the duration of follow-up CC, so he'll be okay, and this is where they overreach. Cat, we spoke about it. You don't have your ultimate for the second engage, for the second follow-up as a tank in this situation, and you will die towards the Caitlyn burst immediately as you do that. Good stun by Sky to time it with the headbutt pole. Newbie, they're able to defuse.
With chaos, amazingly. Somehow they calm the game down with chaos.
Yeah, look, Dan are the ones making the plays now. They're trying to go forwards. They're doing it again. Coco.
Ooh, very early Zanya's. Equalizer on top. Karen dives in. He is so tanky. Sky tries to scare him back as Crisp locks down that Sejuani. They are able to puncture through the armor. They chase him down. And the follow-up kill. They managed to get Choo Choo separated as well. The Weaver's Wall picks Dan Gaming apart.
And once again, Dan, they take the engage, they lose the team fight, and it feels like whoever's going forwards is the one losing the game right now between these teams. And it's not about who throws the best, it's about who doesn't engage the right way. Just like that, Newbie straight into the base.
Oh, wow. They just break through the turret. They've got to actually finish off the inhib here. Perhaps getting a little overzealous. They bait Goong in. They tag onto him. The knock-up, the follow-up, and the headshot kill along with Cat's death. Death timers are still 18 seconds for Karen as the inhibitor is dead.
They might have just lost the game as a result of getting picked off there instead of defending the Nexus.
And now they turn on to the Nexus turrets. Newbie are pushing through to win the game onto the Nexus. And even when they were winning, they were losing. And when they were losing, they were winning. It's backwards day here in the LPL. But it's Newbie who take game one.
Very unusual game coming out of both of these teams there, Dom. But we have the expected result, the end of game number one. Of course, unsurprisingly, Dan will get themselves their Barons. Newbie just look like in the end they were a slightly more respected team. They slowed it down just that little bit extra. The engages from Dan